Hello and welcome to this video, and on this video I'm going to be going through the 10 worst singers that are men singers. The worst ones, the ones I can't stick, the ones that just sound awful to my ear. Now, of course, this is very subjective. It's not like I don't like them. In some cases I quite like the bands they're in, but there's just something about their voice that gets on my nerves. Singers that I do like, for example, Paul Rodgers from Free, that's a great singer. James Brown, Chris Cornell, these are all great singers, aren't they? But there are also other singers just sound rubbish. You understand this one, this is quite straightforward. I'm going to go through the 10 worst singers in my opinion, in ascending order, ranked from pretty bad to absolutely goddamn awful. So should we just kick off and see where we go? I think this will be a relatively short video because all I'm going to be basically telling you is how much I hate the sound of their voices. There's not much more to say after that, but we'll see what happens. I thought it would be worth having a go. You know, I've never explored this before. So at number 10, let's kick off straight away. At number 10, I've got the lead singer of a band I actually really like, but his voice is really awful. And it is, of course, Anthony Kiedis from Red Hot Chili Peppers. Now, when Red Hot Chili Peppers emerged in the 1980s, they were simply a sort of cross between punk and funk, and I thought it was a very enjoyable sound. They got a party thing going on. They were like lads jumping about, singing about all sorts of, you know, silly things, girls and getting drunk and, you know, and all types of things like that. And I thought they were very enjoyable, actually very good players. And at that point, Anthony Kiedis would sort of chant away. And then as the whole rap metal thing emerged, he started doing a bit of rap. Now, I don't mind him when he does a bit of rap. But when he did Blood Sugar Sex Magic, you know, he decided to channel something that was a bit more, you know, touchy-feely. With, of course, the tune Under the Bridge, which was about his drug addiction. Apparently, he'd gone under a bridge to get some drugs, and he thought, oh, I don't like this. I don't like myself, you know. It's all right singing about, you know, having parties on Women's Anatomy or whatever they used to sing about and all that type of thing that they you know, about giving it all away. They're going to give it all away. Give it away now. Give it away now. When he's saying give it away now, I don't mind him. But on Under the Bridge, he tried to sing. Now, the thing with Anthony Kiedis is he hasn't got any vibrato. So here's some technical stuff for you. Vibrato is when you wobble the note. So if you sang a note without vibrato, it would sound like this. La. But if you could sing, you could do vibrato. Now, I cannot sing, but I will try and do some vibrato. So I will do the note without vibrato, and then I'll add it in. So you go, la. Right, I can't do it. It's a very hard thing to do. Now, some people, you know, in my experience as a music teacher, some people just seem to have natural vibrato. Now, if you wobble in the note, if you're a little bit out of key, you don't notice it because the note's wobbling up and down. And also, once you've got that, you can use that to create expression. You listen to a great singer and listen to the way they use vibrato. And it's a way, and of course, some singers can sing without vibrato, but their pitching's really good. But with Anthony Kiedis, it's not. You know, so you get this sort of, how long must I try? And the thing is, if you haven't got good pitch, sing the notes short, you know. Sometimes I feel like mama. If you do short notes, but he has to extend. He does everything wrong. Sometimes I feel like. Sometimes I feel like my only friend. And it's that droning sound which for some reason then sold 1 million records. And everybody that hadn't enjoyed the Red Hot Chili Peppers doing their sort of funky, slappy, funky, jumping around stuff seemed to love all this. And we got a tirade of it, and it was just absolutely awful. And I went off him, and he turned him into some middle-of-the-road, multi-millionaire, you know, band. And it's like now, I mean, Anthony Kiedis he's gone from being a very, you know, beautiful man in the old days with his long hair and his beautiful cherubic face, but now he's turned into, he looks like one of the Chuckle Brothers. Not that anyone in America knows who that is. You're probably thinking he looks a little bit like Frank Zappa at the moment with that moustache thing going, but I think he looks like the one in the Chuckle Brothers, you know, the one who died, that one. That's who. I'll put it up on the video. You can see, you can compare them to see how similar they are. Very similar, you see. But even though he looks like a member of the Chuckle Brothers, he's still knocking around with a girl that looks about, you know, 18, let us say. And I don't think that's a good thing either. And that's gone against him. I think he's a bit dodgy, that Kiedis is. But I'm not slandering him in any way. It's only my opinion, you know. And if he could sing, I would probably not mention it. But I have mentioned it because he's got a horrible, toneless, vibrato-less voice. Shall we move on to number 9? Now you understand how this one's going to go. It could be quite good. I had enough to say about that one. I've just got to describe how I feel about their singing. That's all it is. Tony Hadley from the Spandau Ballet. Right, can't stick his voice. Right, I haven't got a problem with Spandau Ballet. So in the early 80s, he had a load of bands emerged, and they were like, it was as though you formed a sort of, it had punk. And you would have thought that would change music in a certain way, but it didn't. Instead, what you had was all these Lord Fauntleroy types come out with frilly bits coming out here and frilly bits coming down here, and they all started to do this sort of cod, you know, English soul-y funk. You know, it's like they'd listen to Chic, but they were doing it in a way that wasn't very nice. Now, with Duran Duran, I like Duran Duran, but Spandau Ballet, the thing with Spandau Ballet is that they had this singer, Tony Hadley. Now, he came out saying he was a big fan of proper singers like Frank Sinatra and all these types. Well, if that's the case, why doesn't he sing like them? Because what you got was this horrible, plummy sound, you know, and he sings like, it's like a certain type of cabaret singer in Tony Hadley's case. So you get these sort of sugary, Barry White-esque sort of Lionel Richie ballads, but they're not being sung by Lionel Richie, so there's no soul there. And so you get lots of, you know, like, that's the backing vocals, that's not Tony Hadley. And then he goes, I know this much is true. I know this much, and he's singing like this. It's true, doing this horrible, and he thinks it's good singing. But, you know, I'm singing from the chest. It's chest voice. Oh, and I just thought it lacked any sort of soul. And the thing is some singers are bad, right? There's some singers on here, and we know they're bad. But it sort of works. But in Tony Hadley's case, he thinks he's a good singer, and everyone thinks he's a good singer, but he's not. Singing like that's not good. I know this. What else did they do? That gold, always live in the soul. Oh, it's like this big drony, big, thick, deep voice. It's horrible. Tony Hadley's Spandau Ballet. And they're named after they're so pretentious. Spandau Ballet. I mean, Spandau's where they stuck Rudolph Hess. It's that prison. They made a prison for Rudolph Hess, didn't they? And they stuck him in there. They didn't execute him because he got in a plane and came to Scotland, didn't they? And they realised he was off his head. And so, but the idea that there would be a ballet going on in Spandau for Rudolph Hess, it's so pretentious, isn't it? And the music didn't live up to that. Their first single was good. I quite like that. And I can remember watching that on Top of the Pops. But they were dressed as Scottish people with kilts on. I mean, what was going on at that point? Tony Hadley, terrible. Awful voice. Shall we move on? This is not going to be a long video. It's going to be about 30 minutes. Right, now, at number 8, I have Ian Curtis from Joy Division, the mopey lead singer of that northern, depressing, proto-indie band that made a number of albums that all the critics think are the best albums in sliced bread, and then he hung himself, right? Poor old Ian Curtis. He wasn't a happy chap, and I do feel sorry for him, and I don't want to take the mickey out of that, you know, and I haven't. I'm just telling you who he is. That was a description of Ian Curtis for you. But Ian Curtis, what he would do is, he just can't sing, right? Now, there's a certain voice that originates with Jim Morrison, and then Iggy Pop copied it, and then because Iggy Pop copied it, everyone in the 80s copied it, including that bloke from Sisters of Mercy, Andrew Eldritch. I don't mind when he does it, but it's this side of voice. I'm gonna be down in the project, like that bloke out of B-52s. They all did it. Right, but the thing with Ian Curtis, he did this thing like this. And that was his speciality. This is what makes you the critics' darlings. So if you do that, look really scary, and they go, I want to play, come on, I'm a terry, I'm a ball, I'm a gold, love will tear us apart again, love will tear us apart. He's doing that Tony Hadley thing as well. You can't sing, mate, you can't sing. Don't think by singing in a deep voice and projecting it makes you a good singer. Listen to a good singer like Nat King Cole. Go and listen to, not old King Cole. He was a merry old soul, he was. And a merry old soul was he, but Nat King Cole, he was a merry old soul as well. But he could sing. What a difference a day makes. Just talking, just to say it with a bit of soul. I can't do it, it's too hard. But I can do Ian Curtis. Love will tear us apart again. Like this, he's doing all this with the art. What's all this about? Where's he got this bit from for? What is it? I mean, it's like the butterfly stroke in swimming. That was the hardest of the strokes, wasn't it? The butterfly stroke. I'm really having to clutch at things to say in this video. But I will come up with stuff. Right, so at number 7, I've got written down here, the bloke from Hot Chocolate. Now, I should know his name. You can see how much time I gave to this. I mean, I could have looked it up, but I couldn't be arsed. The bloke from Hot Chocolate, what's his name? Now, my kids, when they discovered Hot Chocolate, because that man, he's also dead, he was a black gentleman, and my kids were very upset that they had the name Hot Chocolate. I'd never thought this. I just thought hot chocolate was a nice, bedtime beverage, but they thought that this was somehow racist because of the lead singer. He got a bald head, he had. I wish I could remember his name. And he cornered the market in this sort of very sexual, I mean, nowadays he'd probably get in trouble for going around being so, het up as he was back then. But he's like one of the worst singers going, but I actually don't mind it too much. But I do need to point out how bad he was, because he sings like this. Giving that to me, I believe in miracles. And if you listen to Sexy Thing, which is the only song I can recall at this point for this video, there's certain points where he just goes, it's when he says one of the lonely people. He was one of the lonely people, you see, this bloke was. You wouldn't have thought it being the lead singer of Hot Chocolate, but he was, apparently. Because he was one of the lonely people, but he's believed in miracles because he's met this lady. But when he says one of the lonely people, he sings it like this. Lonely people. Like that. Lonely people. And it's like he is on the toilet at the key moment of your toilet routine, if you know what I'm saying. And he's sat there, and he's having a bit of trouble, and he should have maybe eaten something to loosen himself up a little bit. And someone stuck a mic there and said, you sat on the toilet all alone, what's it like? And he's gone, I'm one of the lonely people. I said, well, I'm not surprised singing like that on the toilet. This is just stupid. This is the lowest of the low. Oh, I've been doing some have I got a wraith floating around in front of me? What was that wraith then? I'm sure this place is haunted. Did you see it floating around in front of me? There's nothing in here. I bet it's the ghost of that bloke from Hot Chocolate. He's going, you don't even know my name. I should know his name. I know about music. It's Hot Chocolate. He's famous. He's got a bald head. Oh, I can't remember it. You're all putting it in the comments now because you think you're all clever because you know it. I know who the bloke from Hot Chocolate is. Anyway, I've been doing serious YouTubing recently, and I haven't been being zany or silly because people don't like it. There's a lot of serious people out there, they don't like it when I do this. And I think what's happened with this one, this is like concentrated. I'll get it out of my system. I can go monthly once I've got this one out of the way. I am enjoying myself. Right, at number 6, I imagine, it's Vince Neil from Motley Crue. Right, now, I mean, in the 80s, you had a bunch of dodgy hair metal bands, didn't you? There we were prancing around, too much makeup, too much backcombed and hairsprayed hair, and there were some good players there. But with all that, you expect a decent singer, I mean, old, what's the name from Guns N' Roses? I was going to call him Axel F, but that's the bloke who did that. Not him. What's his name? Bloody hell. Now you've forgotten the hot chocolate bloke. Now you've forgotten him and he's not really famous. Oh, God, this is terrible. Anyway, it doesn't matter because he's not the one I'm talking about. The bloke from Guns N' Roses, he can really sing. He's got the biggest range in rock music. Right, and a lot of these people, like David Coverdale, they did some good singing, didn't he? And, you know, that's Sebastian Bach from whatever band he was in. He was an incredible singer. A lot of these rock bands had incredible singers. Not Motley Crue, right? His voice sounds like a bandsaw. It sounds like some sort of, you know, tool that Black & Decker made, isn't it? Right, it's somewhere like that, you know. Oh, it's an awful sound, isn't it? Now, Motley Crue, I mean, they're rubbish, aren't they? I don't mind them. I had Dr. Feelgood. I like that album. I like the first album. I've spoken to them about them in very derogatory terms here on the channel. I know I have, but you know, Mick Mars he's a good. I like his guitar playing, and I like Tommy Lee's drumming. Nicky Sixx, I mean, he doesn't do anything really, but he's all right, isn't he? But it's Vince Neil that spoils them, and I think he's rubbish. And the thing is that he looked too girly when they were young, and then as time has gone on, I mean, there's nothing wrong with looking girly. I'm not criticising him for that, but he looked girly in a sort of little bit Bo Peep way. Does that make sense? But very quickly he went to seed. Vince Neil's gone to seed, hasn't he, really? When you see him now, he just looks like a big fat toad, doesn't he? With that horrible voice. I mean, this is the people that, they're still scratching a living doing this. Someone with that lack of talent, Vince Neil, still scratching a living out of this rubbish, you know, with that horrible voice. And I'm now going to move on. We're halfway. This is going to be a 30-minute video. Great, you know, you're going to have a bit of a laugh, but I ain't going to go on for an hour like this. It's not worth it. So at number 5, I have got Eddie Vedder. Right, now, as far as I'm concerned, the whole Seattle grunge thing produced some incredible singers, right? Kurt Cobain's a decent singer. I think he's got a great voice. But Chris Cornell, one of the greatest male singers that's ever lived, as was that bloke, Lane Staley, was he the one from Alice in Chains, and the guitarist who's still going, their harmony vocals. But Lane Staley, what a ridiculous singer, right? That one from Stone Temple Pilots, he was he died. I mean, they're all dead. There's only one that's not dead. Have you noticed? Eddie bloody Vedder, the one who sounds horrible. It's like a foghorn. You know, it's like if you were lost at sea, you're in the fog, where is it? Where is it? And Eddie Vedder's warming up on the side, you know, he's on top of some lighthouse something, they're going, oh, I can hear land. I think Eddie Vedder's on the horizon. It's like that. I don't like male singers when they get plummy and they project and they think it's good singing. People think, you see, Ian Curtis can't sing. Everyone knows that. Vince Neil, he's a front man. Bloke from Hot Chocolate, he's bald-headed and sexually, you know, got too much, you know, there's too much beans going on with it. But Eddie Vedder, people think he's a good singer. They do. Now, in the early days, their albums are all right, but the bloody guitarist, who wasn't very good, had to put guitar solos every, you know, 10, that one. I had that album. Jeremy's a good song, I like that, but he swears in it, and you don't need to swear like that. It always takes me by surprise, you know. Why you swear like that for, Eddie? I just thought I'd just put a big swear word in it, you know, because I'm Eddie Vedder. Yes, Eddie Vedder, come from up north, I do. Got a right prommy voice, I have. Now, that was sounding more like Joe Elliott. Now, Joe Elliott can sing from Def Leppard. I'm bloody can, you know, I'm very good. I can sing, not like that bloody Eddie Vedder chappy. I had a problem with my flaps. You know, Joe Elliott's had a problem with his flaps. The flaps, you know, the flaps. He's got a problem with his old flaps, he has, and but he's sorted it out now, and he's better than he ever was. I was watching an interview with him the other day. That's what he said. He's better than he ever was. He can sing, you know, Eddie Vedder can't. I don't know why Joe Elliott came into, but at least I know his name. At number 4 on my list of singers who I don't like the sound of their voice would be, and he's another one of these constipated singers, would be Mr. Bryan Ferry. Now, Bryan Ferry, he's a cool chap. his eyes are a little bit too close together. I never like a man with his eyes too close together. You're probably going to say mine are too close together. That might be why I don't like them, you see. You know, that I see something in myself in Bryan Ferry. It has been said, you know. But the thing with Bryan Ferry is he's a very cool chap, wasn't he? But as a singer, I always felt he sounds strained. He's very strained, isn't he? Now, the reason I put him so high on the list, these last few, is because the other singers, they're pretty rough, but I wouldn't like to step into their shoes. I wouldn't like to step into Vince Neil's shoes. I wouldn't like to do that anyway, you know. But I wouldn't like to have to front a band and sing like that. But when it comes to Bryan Ferry, I reckon I can do it. That's why he's so high. I think anybody can do it. So let's see what do you think of this? And he does that with his eyes, doesn't he? I mean, normally if you're singing, you had that with your eyes, people would go, because he does that thing, does he, like that? Love is the joy that the beginner. Can't you dear? Love is the joy for me. So I reckon I could do it if you know, all I'd need was like a white jacket and a bit of hair dye, I suppose. I could do a Roxy Music tribute, no problem. You know, and as time, you know, all these singers, when they got to a certain point, they all went and brought out their jazz album, didn't they? You know, Rod Stewart did it. I'm pretty sure Tom Jones did it. They all bring out a jazz album. Bryan Ferry brought one out. He was rubbish because he can't sing. You know, and he's doing all these old songs. He didn't do proper jazz songs. He wouldn't, because he has to have a very narrow range, doesn't he? Oh, can't you see? Love is the drug for me. It's all in this little narrow thing. Very breathless, very tight. Like, he's worried. Sounds like he's worried, Bryan Ferry. Now, Roxy Music are cool bands, you know. I don't like them, though. I mean, people love them, don't they? They love them. Very influential. Roxy Music, I haven't spoken about them much on this channel. The reason is because I've never really listened to them. I like them when they first come out and they've got old, you know, Brian Eno in. I like them then, and they do that Virginia playing. That's quite good. If I go through their songs, I could. How many songs could I I was off the top of my head. 3. Virginia playing. Love is a Drug, and that Avalon one that they did. Remember later on? Avalon. No, that's wrong key. Avalon. Avalon. Oh. Well, I mean, what idiocy have we been spun by the music industry? Have you ever thought that? You know, how, you know, people decide they get the right clothes, put a bit of glitter on, you know, they work out some way of just getting through a pretty cruddy song, and they dress it up with a whole bunch of frilliness and silliness. And before you know it, you got Roxy Music, and everybody wants to be Roxy Music. I mean, look at bloody Japan. And Sylvian, I like David Sylvian, but he's the same. It's like he heard Bryan Ferry. Sylvian must have gone, right, Sylvian must have gone, I wanted to be a singer. Because my brother's on drums, and I wanted to be a singer. I can't sing, though. Yeah, but you could do a Bryan Ferry. What do you mean? Just go, it's Bob Dylan, you see. He's the one at fault. He hasn't appeared yet. Where's he going to be? You know where he's going to be. Oh, Bob, where's Bob going to be? That's what's hanging over this thing. It's so bloody obvious, isn't it? But we'll move on to number 3. At number 3, I've got Meatloaf, right? Now, Meatloaf, a lot of these, well, let's go through this. Anthony Kiedis don't play anything. Tony Hadley don't play anything. Ian Curtis don't play anything. Bloke from Hot Chocolate don't play anything. Vince Neil don't play anything. Eddie Vedder probably strums a few open chords. I ain't class him, right? I couldn't see him play anything in the Jeremy video. Bryan Ferry don't play anything. Meatloaf doesn't play anything, right? You know, so these are singers. These are representative singers. So, and with Meatloaf, he's actually... He like sings ballads, and there is something good about Meatloaf, right? But again, it's that constipated sound, isn't it? You've got 2 sounds. You've got plummy, you've got that one going on, the old Eddie Vedder, bloody Tony Hadley, and then you've got the constipated sound, you know. I would do anything for love, but I won't do that, you know. Now, when we get to my most hated female singers, Cher will be on the list, believe me, because she has got the female version of that plummy deep voice. And I could turn back time if I could find a way, you know. And so when she paired with Meatloaf, you've got both going on at the same time, you know. So he comes up and he goes, I've been taking baby joy, how's the chorus go? Rockin' booty do, fucking booty do. My man, I can better think to do. I don't know who you are, what you want, what you do, what you can. And the thing with Cher is, I mean, she's not my type really, Cher. She's a bit stringy, but she's way out of Meatloaf's league. But anyone's way out of Meatloaf's league. But then he walks into this bar, big fat sweaty bloke, and then he sees her with her gang of sort of leather-clad, you know, rock ladies. And he's straight in there with Dead Ringer's really warped me. And I think there's so much wrong with it, right? And this is the point here. It's because, anyway, I'll carry on. We haven't finished that point. So then she comes in, Cher. And then she goes, sing the same bloody song again. Same set of lyrics. From the dog a bone. I'm rockin' ball and Jew. And then they both come in together. And you get this harmony. But it's not just a harmony. It's like an octaves, which is worst thing, you know, worst thing in the world. You've got a man and woman singing together octaves, but you've got like plumbing, rock and roll and Jew, and all going on at the same time. And bizarrely, I actually quite like it. I don't know anything about you, baby, but you're everything I'm dreaming of. I don't know who you are, but you're a real dead ringer for love. A real dead ringer for them about that. What's that bit there? Like a calypso halfway through that. It doesn't make sense, doesn't it? I mean, they put these records out. We didn't have much entertainment in the early 80s. What's this? Cher's copied off with them. They're doing like Grease. They're doing like Grease, but it's in a bar. Yeah, but Meatloaf's not John Travolta. When John Travolta was wiggling around, and then, you know, we're living in John, they're really good. I mean, you listen to, look at this, Travolta, right? We all laugh at Travolta, don't we? But he's the incredible man, John Travolta is. For a start, he's a nice Scientologist, isn't he? I think they should get rid of Tom Cruise and put him in charge of Scientology. Get that Muscovy bloke. They get rid of him, get rid of Tom Cruise, sling her up, you lot. Get in Travolta. He'll make it all nice, right? And on top of this, he can dance, can't he? Do you remember when he came out? You know, doing all that bit in Saturday Night Fever. Amazing, right? And on top of that, he can drive a bloody jumbo jet, and he's got one parked next to his house right now. You know, he's probably sat there watching TV going, I'm bored. I fancy something to eat. I'd have to go down the bloody shops. But I could go to Brazil and get something, I don't know, some Brazil nuts actually from Brazil. And then he's so rich that they're all sat there. Travolta, he's got all his people sat there. They're sat there like, you know, air hostesses, other pilots, everything like that. And they're all sat there just having a life of riding. They love it, you know, living in John Travolta's house. And then it's like Travolta goes, I'm going down to Brazil, going to get some Brion nuts. Okay, then, yes, sir, Mr. Travolta. And they get on the airplane, and he comes out of his garage, goes down his runway and flies off, right? But on top of that, listen to him sing, right? When you listen to him sing in Greece, and he does... Listen to that. They can sing. Olivia Newton-John, oh, lovely lady, beautiful lady, brilliant singer. But listen to what Travolta's doing on that. It's insane. He's going, it's like this. He's doing all that, isn't it? As a counter line to Olivia Newton-John's. I'm getting too excited and I'm getting puffed as well. Olivia Newton-John. Right, Olivia Newton-John's beautiful vocal on that. You're the one, you were a lover, ooh, and he's going, listen to it, I can't even sing it. You cannot do it. It's Travolta. Immensely talented man. Look how good he was. You know, he defined everything in the 70s from me. But between Saturday Night Fever and Grease, that's the archetypal man. Right? Then you had Happy Days and the Fonz. He was like a parallel reality. He was like John Travolta, but you could achieve the Fonz, maybe. But you couldn't achieve Travolta. And then, in the 80s, he went right downhill and did all that Look Who's Talking nonsense, didn't he? With the baby being taught. Was it Bruce Willis was the baby and he was the dad? And you think he's had it. But no! He returns looking cool in bloody Quentin Tarantino in the old Pulp Fiction. Travolta, I tell you, now that's a real bloke. He can sing, he can dance, he can act, he can be cool, he can do rubbish films, he can be a nice Scientologist and drive an airplane. I mean, do you want me to carry on? He did do Battlefield Earth, old Travolta. Now, you're probably thinking, well, I'm going on so much about Travolta and not Meatloaf, and the reason is because I forgot that I was doing this and I just went off on a roll on Travolta, because there's more to say about him, really. A lot more to say about John Travolta than Meatloaf. Right, and so I absolutely love Bat Out of Hell. Not the album, but the track. I love it. This is the anomaly. I love it, and I love Dead Ringers. But the rest of it is bloody horrible, isn't it? Absolute rubbish. Right, so we're at the two obvious ones now. So at number 2, I have got Van Not the Man. I'm not saying Van the Man, because he's not the man. He's not the man. He should be called Van Not the Man. Van Morrison. He's so high because people think he's brilliant. He's really pulled the wool over the eyes, that fat little goblin has. That fat little right-wing racist goblin. That's what he is. His stupid hat and his pink pudgy hands and his pink pudgy face. Right? Van Morrison made the worst album ever made, Astral Weeks, but not only is it the worst album ever made. I've done all this already. This is like old stuff. What can I say new about Van Morrison? I've spent so many times having a go at him that what more can I say? Well, let's just talk about his singing, right? His singing is absolutely awful because he sounds horrible, doesn't he? You know, and it's like, the other day I did a covers gig, just one of those covers. Some bloke was 50 years old. It was his party, you know. And I did the gig. It was all right, you know. And then you get to the end of the night, you're tired, you're sweating, you want to go home. So you start setting your drum kit down. And they've all had a drink, but they're all right, you know. But you know you're going to carry it all out and you're tired. At that point, I've done this before. This is the same bloody material idea, but they put Brown Eyed Girl on. Now, Brown Eyed Girl is supposedly one of the good songs by him, isn't it? And it's like, he really is what he is. He's a fat little Irish bloke trying to sing like a soul singer, right? Now, the thing I really hate about him is I've actually got quite a nervous disposition, right, in real life. I'm a little bit like a deer. You know, like a deer. You know, like they're very jumpy, aren't they, deers? My temperament's a bit like this. And when I'm doing this, I'm all right. I'm talking to you. But if I stopped and let all the evil that's out there into my head, which is what happens, I get very worried about things. This is how I go through life. Then when I put Van Morrison on, not only do I hate it, right? And not only is it boring and just the same 4 chords, and it's just, I haven't listened to enough. Maybe there's some good stuff somewhere. I can't be arsed though. Because he does this thing. Is he mumbles, he goes, he's doing all that like he normally does. I guess he's just rubbish, isn't it? Can't understand what he's saying, sounds horrible. And then every now and then, when he thinks you're not ready, he makes you jump because he'll go, Now, there's one song I don't mind, and that's Moon Dance, because they do Moon Dance in American Werewolf, don't they? When I can remember that, because Jenny Agutter is in that scene. Right? And he's not too bad on that. He's not too bad, is he? Fantabulous night to make romance. Oh. And then you think, And that's his best song. Moon Dance is his best song because some people they put on the comments here. They go, check out something by Van Morrison. Check out this track. I go, don't want to. You don't understand, right? I've got to a certain age. I've worked out the amount of time I've got left. I've got a bit of time left. I'm not, I'm not looking at death's door, but I don't really want to take it up and listen to Van Morrison. I hate Van Morrison. It's funny doing this channel because I knew that, once you put your taste under the microscope and you start to zone in, and I never would have thought it was Van Morrison that I hated so much, but I really do. And I still don't feel I don't like the fact other people like him. That's the bit that I know that I'm saying this and people have been laughing. I mean, Tony Hadley, Vince Neil, all low-hanging fruit. Then you get to Van Morrison, the people, and they're not like say the left wing when they go, you don't like Van Morrison, you're a fascist, you need to be killed. It's not like that. Bit of politics for you. I promise not to do it, but you got to do it every now and then. And then that was done in a jokey fashion. But when people can't take a joke, right? Well, the Van Morrison lot can take a joke for some reason, and they go, "Oh yeah, I do like Van Morrison." It's quite funny what you said. That fat goblin, and when they were talking, you said he was like a little fat pig goblin with his pig trotters. He hasn't got hands. He's got pig trotters. I know it. He's a little pig, right? He's a little pig. Can you imagine him? Sometimes when I'm doing this, I have studied music for 40 odd years, quite deeply. And then I lectured in music history and culture for many, many years. And I had to write, mark people's essays on it and go, yes, you didn't really, when we were talking about the origins of British punk, I think you missed out the dam there. And it's like they had a very, and all that bit, they were there before, all that's chin stroking stuff where you're talking, being serious. And for some reason, these videos is what everyone likes the most, I mean, and I don't even try now, you can tell. I don't even try when I'm doing these now. I did to start off with. I don't know why you like them. Everyone seems to hate them, and then they have a go at me for doing them. And then I don't do them, and then the views drop off, and I think, well, I need to do one just to pep it up. And I've got to get Van Morrison in there, because and the thing is, you like Van Morrison, and then you have a little laugh, I like it, but you think Andy's never heard, and then they'll say some album, they put it in the comments, you should check so-and-so out. It's got some jazz musicians on, and it's got some chords on that you might like. You think, what do you know what I like? You think I just like weird jazz in funny chord changes with weird time signatures. Yeah, that is actually what I like. And that's why I don't like Van Morrison. Can't he do that? No, he can't. You know why? Because he actually can't. He can't do it. None of these people can do that. Right? That's the bottom line. They just fluke it. They do a load of rubbish, the right place at the right time. This is what pop music is. Nobody wants to say it. The proper musicians, Toto, they're a proper band, right? There's no two-way nobody's. Toto's a proper. Listen to when they do. Oh my God, they're really great players. Jeff Porcaro's incredible. Steve Lukather, a monster on guitar. And then they do a song like Africa. Listen to the vocal on it. Listen to the vocal melody. Beautiful singing. I'm singing Rosanna, aren't I? Not Africa. And that's Lucas the thinking. He's not even the singer. And then that Kimball bloke comes on and he goes, I can't do it. It's too high. They're proper singers. They never go to Toto. I mean, no, they're good. Right, I can't stick it. I have been so close to this rock music malarkey for so many years, 40 years, man and boy. And our conclusion I've come to at this age is most of it is smoke and mirrors and nobody can say it. And there's a big industry to go out and say Ian Curtis was a genius and he did this and he did that and all, and they all go on about it and all the people go on, and they have to come on and go, I think the Ramones are brilliant, and they do all this and they're rubbish bands. They're rubbish bands, and then when somebody comes on doing the Ramones properly, i.e. AC/DC or Motorhead, they demote those, and it's the same with this. Right, their songs aren't very good. None of these songs are very good. Well, let's have a look. Kiedis. I mean, the Red Hot Chili Peppers I mean, I like them, but they're rubbish. They're either this middle of the road pap. I can't go through the whole thing. Tony Hadley, Spanlow Ballet. I mean, it's bloody Housewife's bloody white stiletto shoes music. Ian Curtis, biggest con, Joy Division, load of bloody rubbish. Load of middle-aged men walking around, reliving their teenage years because they liked it then, because that's all they did, because they hadn't heard Led Zeppelin. Vince Neil, Motley Crue, you know, the fact that they took a load of drugs and did all these dodgy things and then they've marketed it all and written a book on it and made a film of it and they go around trading on that. But they weren't a very good band. There's a million bands at the time are better than Motley Crue. Eddie Vedder, the worst of the grunge bands. Bryan Ferry, just being cool. It's all about being cool. Even Brian Eno was cool when he was in there and he's a bald bloke. And then you got Meatloaf. I mean, Meatloaf, what the hell is going on with him? Big fat bloke trying to do some rock opera thing, like cross between, I don't know, what is it a cross between? Well, you got a little bit of Phil Spector there, haven't you? A little bit of Andrew Lloyd Webber and maybe a little bit of Queen. Then you get Van Morrison. I don't even know why we're talking about him. Van Morrison. I did a tour with Van Morrison, if you haven't watched the original videos, and I saw him up close, and I saw how he operated, and I wasn't very impressed by him, to be honest. And then I thought, if you're going to act like that, be that grumpy to everybody, then you have to put up with me having a go at you. And if they want to get people on me, I mean, what's he going to do, old Van? Come round here and have a go at me? No, he bring his minders round. Well, I'm not scared of Van Morrison's minders. I'm not scared of them, because I know they're like it's like the witch in Wizard of Oz. You know, the helpers, right? They're on the side, but once you push them, they just turn. Because can you imagine being Van Morrison's minder, right? Can you imagine how he treats them? Growling at them all the time, telling them to do this and do that, you know, with his little piggy trotters pointing at them. Now, I've got a bit of new material there for Van Morrison. I'll move on. At number one, of course, I have Bob Dylan. Now, Bob Dylan, I know Bob Dylan's the most important rock musician of all time, songwriter of all time. I know that. He's more important than the Beatles. He's the most important guy, right? There's none of it without him. He's incredibly important. He's incredibly influential. And my whole life, I've hated him. And doing this channel and talking about him and having to say, oh, you know, he did this, he did that, and this was amazing, and that was amazing. And I've been able to construct the artifice of appreciating him. And now when I put those early albums on, not Blonde and Blonde, I don't like that one, but before the ones before that, and I put on, when you go again, watch the parking meters. You know, all that bit stuff he does. You go, oh my God, listen to that. He's got a backbeat. He's got a rock band going on. They're playing. They don't sound like anything that's gone before. He's actually inventing rap, isn't he? No, he's not. He's just singing old bloody American black folk music. They invented rap in the bloody 19-nothings. That's what they did. He's just copped it all. Little rich kid. You know, his mum and dad, Bob Dylan's mum and dad owns like a string of bloody big shops or something. He was like a little middle-class boy. So he didn't have to get a job. So he could go pretending he's hoboing, but he wasn't hoboing. He wasn't Woody Guthrie. He was got it all sorted out, you know, got all his money. Mum done a packed lunch. He go, oh, you want to go off and, you know, go down and see Woody Guthrie? When he saw Woody Guthrie, he was like, you know, I think he was so ill, he didn't get much out of him. But it's like, he copied it all off him, you know. And to think, now he got that film, right, with Timothy Chalamet. Timothy bloody Chalamet. I put a photograph of me when I was young up on my Facebook the other day, and everyone went, Andy, you look like Timothy Chalamet. I could have been doing that when I was young, because I could do a Bob Dylan. I'm going to do it now to finish off. Where's my guitar? I know you want it. Let's see if we can do a Dylan song, shall we? So we only have 3 chords. I could go with that. Shall I angle it down so you can see I am actually playing the guitar? But you won't be able to do that. Oh, I'll do that. But Dylan's little, he can fit. And those of you that are moan that the guitar's out of tune, just... What do you think this is, Rick Beato? It's not Rick Beato. He had that Fantanamo bloke on, you know, and it was weird because they didn't seem to be that friendly and they were chatting to each other. I didn't think. I mean, it was just a crass attempt to just put their both combined YouTube fame together. This video's really long, isn't it? Oh, when I'm running down the highway, I saw a lonesome man. He was wearing 40 feathers. He had a fire can in his hand. And I said to him, I'm rolling down the highway. I said to him, see, this bit's too good. I've got this. I said to him, that I'm running down the highway. He doesn't do anything that good. I can't get it as drony as him. I've failed because I'm right, let's try this. I will get there. You say that you're the leader of the pack. It's too melodic. I can't go on. So I'm a jazz guy. That's the one I like. All those. I like all that bit. That's what I like. Let's try. Come on, you can do this. Well, you said it wasn't there, and you drove along the highway. Your dad's got a white van. He's always going my way. A man with a van, and just a man with a van, and you got your own plan. You got your own plan. You got your own plan. You wander down the high street, looking for some shoes. Your mother's looking my way, 'cause she's got those riverside blues. And you say you're only going away, and you're never gonna see the highway. Never gonna see the highway. You're never gonna see it my way. You're never gonna see the highway. That's the harmonica solo now, which is just him blowing in and out. Because anybody, if you're not going to listen to, you know, when you listen to like Stevie Wonder, you know, he'd go, billy. That's not Stevie Wonder's brilliant, isn't he? And then you listen to, you know, Bob Dylan play the harmonica, and you know, he always sings in the same key. So he's got the key that goes with that, and he just breathes in and out. Could you get, do you get tired out doing that? You go, oh, the man, and oh, the hair, oh, the girl. Oh, God, I've got to bring the wind up now. Sorry, excuse me about that. It's bad mannered. And then you get, see how my breathing's good. And then I think what he does is just to get his breath back, he sticks onto that harmonica. And then he's back to the guitar. He's rubbish. Dylan's rubbish. And now they made a film with, they got Timothy Chalamet. Who's like he's way better looking than Bob Dylan. They're making him into something he's not. That's what they're doing with Dylan. They always have done, right? Right, he's got his influence, but the thing is, it's like somebody once said to me that if it's worth doing, it's worth doing badly, and it's right, and that's what Dylan did. Once Joni Mitchell heard him, once the Beatles heard him, once Jimi Hendrix heard him, they all got it all way better. Once the Byrds, anybody doing a cover version of Dylan, they're better than Dylan. It's the only example when that happens. You know, you do a cover of, if you do a cover of, this like this song is called do it my way, right? So and then they go. And of course you go, well, that's much nicer. Why is it nicer? Because Bob Dylan's not singing it. I think I rest my case here. I rest my case. The video's like 50 minutes long. I ran out of a battery halfway through. You see that jump? And I was so like, oh, God, I've run out of bloody power. And so I decided, I went down the shop, right? I went into this shop. If you got a charger, now they haven't got it all in one, so I had to buy the cable separately, the plug separately, and it was really expensive, right? You know how much it cost me to get the second bit of this video done? £33, right? That in dollars is probably about $33 now. But anyway, the point is that that's what I've had to spend. So come on. Put a like on this, subscribe, share it. I know it's a load of rubbish. I know, you know what you're here for. Like, I do a video every single day. 90% of them are proper, and I talk about jazz and prog, all philosophy, and, you know, and you could literally go, I never thought that. It was quite good. This is just something else, isn't it? It's something else. It's time to go. It's time to finish the video. We gotta find a way to finish the video off today. You gotta switch it off now. Your mom will tell you how. It's time to say Van Morrison. And in 30 years' time, they'll be saying, I'm a genius. Done. Finished. Finito. Benito.